Hello geeks, my name is Vamp and you guys are watching Code with Vamp. So in the continuation of our passive recon tools, today we will talk more about DNS records and the website through which you can easily get the DNS record information for any of the target server or website. Okay, so this video is going to be very informative and helpful for those who wants to deep dive inside the DNS records and wants to know everything about the DNS records, how to retrieve them, and how to get more insight of the website. I mean, if you know about the DNS records, you can tell almost everything about the website. Okay, so this video is going to be a little bit informative. So I would recommend that you should pull out your pen and paper, and whenever or at any time you feel that this part is very important and it should be kept, so you can just write down into your copy or anywhere you can just remember it, or you can refer it easily. So whenever we talk about the DNS, we know that DNS help you to convert the URL, that is for example www.google.com into its corresponding IP address. So that's a basic thing and that we all know. What you may not know is that the DNS contains number of records of different types. Okay, and each record may or may not point to different IP address. So for the number of record types, there is the possibility that the website is using different IP addresses. Okay. So firstly we will talk about the type of DNS records that are available, and then I will show you practically how you can retrieve it for any of the website. Let's start with the DNS records. So whenever I say that DNS records, so you know about the DNS, I mean it's domain name server, which actually help you to convert your regular URL name into the IP address. If you talk about the DNS records particularly, it actually help other people to find your website, email servers, and much more things. And these records are available on the website through which you have applied for your domain name. For example, you have contacted godaddy.com for your domain name, whatever the name of the website you have, for example www.vamp.com, and I have this just imagine that I have contacted godaddy.com for that. So godaddy.com would be my DNS server provider. Okay, so that company firstly will provide me name servers, and on the name servers I have all my DNS records. So the name server is also kind of a DNS record which contains all the DNS records that we are going to talk about. Okay, so the first one is the name server record, that is NS records, and inside that NS record all of the other DNS records will reside. Okay, so if you remember from our past videos that we have done on Netcraft and WhoisLookup, you remember that we find a category or a domain there which is named by the name server. Okay, and it looks like ns1 ns2 kind of. Just let me show you one more time so that it would be very clear to you. So I will just type here name server records, hit enter. So I am just opening the NS records for this Cloudflare, and I hope that you can see it clearly. Okay, so here you can see that ns1.exampleserver.com. So what basically happens that whenever you contact any name server providers like godaddy.com for the domain name, what they will do, they will provide you the name server. So that's the first thing. Okay, you will be given a name server, and mostly there will be a two name server for your website. In the most of the cases, I have not seen for any of the website that there is a one name server. At least it is going to have a two name servers, and it should be like ns1.vampserver.com, ns2.vampserver.com, and this kind of. Okay, so this is the NS records. In this particular NS records, all other of your records will going to save. So it's like a hierarchy. I mean, the first record that you're going to see is the name server records, and inside that there are a number of records that actually constitute this NS record. Okay, so you can see here NS stand for name server, and this record indicates the DNS server is authoritative for blah 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 blah, blah whatever I have said already. Okay, so this was all about the NS record, and the next one is, okay, so let me close this here, and Let me open it because I have saved everything for you so that I don't have to go back to the website and show you. So the next record that I'm going to talk about, and just don't get bored about these things, because if you really want to deep dive inside web application pen testing, you should know about these basic things. Okay, so I'm not going a very deep inside every records, but at least you should have a basic knowledge about all these record types. Okay, so the very first record inside the NS record is a record. So I will definitely show you practically also how it actually looks inside the website, but at the beginning let's start with the theory part so that it would be very easy for you when you will be seeing it practically. Okay, so the first record is a record inside the NS record, and let me open it for you. Okay, I think you can see it clearly. So a record basically related to your website. I mean, whatever the domain name you have and what is the corresponding IP address for your domain name. Okay, so this is told by the a record. For example, as you can see here, a record used to point a logical domain name, that is the google.com, to the IP address of the Google. So basically we know about this part only when we talk about the DNS. Whenever we say what DNS do, we say that it converts your URL into corresponding IP address. So that is just the part of DNS, okay, which is handled by a record. So this is the work of the a record. Any of the website can have number of a records for its domain and subdomains also. So that is all handled inside the a record. So if you're looking for the domain name and corresponding IP address, so this will be given by a record. Next one is, okay, so I will go with the a, but we should go with the CNAME records. So the next record is CNAME record. Make sure that you make a note of all these things because I don't want you to go very deep inside these records. If you're not setting up your own website, then I don't think that it's going to be very useful for you, but you should have a basic knowledge about these record things. So the next one is the CNAME record, and let me tell you what's it. So the CNAME is for the canonical name, and it is basically used for the redirection, and it can also be used for the subdomains. And what I mean to say, I hope that you have tried this sometimes. For example, my website name is www.vamp.com, but when you go into URL and you type just vamp.com, still you will be redirected to my website. So this kind of thing is done by the CNAME. Okay, here you can see it. Okay, these records point www.example.com to example.com or imap.example.com. So there could be a number of subdomains also, and if someone types that subdomain, they may be redirected to your original website. So if you want that kind of facility, that will be provided in the CNAME. So that's the another records. Here you can see all the subdomain records and all these information in the CNAME. So that was the second record inside the NS1. The first one was a record. Second one is the CNAME. Now the next one is, that is the third one, is the Amex record. So let me open it for you. So here you can see Amex entry. Amex basically stand for the mail exchanger, and suppose a website have number of mail servers, for example gmail.com or office 365, G Suite, anything. Okay, so any of the website can have number of the mail servers. So all the information regarding that mail server on a website is stored in the Amex entry of the DNS record. So there is high possibility that any of the website can have number of the mail servers, and in order to help the audience to go through which of the mail server, there is also a field of priority there. So if you just go with the Amex record, you can see that there are four options actually there: the name and the mail server, then the priority, and then TTL value. I really don't want you guys to get confused in this part. Just think of it as it's a mail server that are available on a website, and there could be number of mail servers, and all of these records are stored in this Amex entry. So allow me to show you an example for the Amex entry. So let us see if it's available online or not. Amex records. and I will type here example. So here you can see very clearly here, as I was telling you, the first thing you can see here is the name, that is the domain name, and here it is tagged as a MX. So here you can see that it is tagged as a, so it's a record. So for particular domain name, this would be the IP address. Okay, now these three are tagged as MX here. So MX is for mail exchanger. So you can see corresponding to it, you can see these are mail servers. So mail 1, mail 2 and mail 3, that is just for the example. And these three mail servers are available on the website, that's why it's the record of the MX. And here you can see it's the priority set for all of the mail servers. And here we have TTL value, that is time to leave value, and these are the priority levels. I mean, if there are a number of mail servers, so which one should be given a high priority and which one should be given a low one, that could be set using the priority. Okay, so these are the field of MX records. So you don't have to go much detail into MX record. Just for the information, you should know that there is a record in the DNS by the name of MX, which actually contains all the information regarding the mail servers. Okay, so let us close this one, we don't need it now, and let us go back to our folder. So we have covered the A record, the CNAME, the MX one, and which one should I start next? Let's start with the TXT records. So if you want to read, you can just pause the video and read it. So you can just pause the video and you can read if you just want to read it. But in short, I would just explain that the TXT records is used to basically associate the text with your domain name. It is mostly used for the email information, the verification, and all these things. So the structure is going to be very simple. You have name, that is the domain name, and the corresponding content. And here you can see these records are dynamic and can be used for several purposes that are commonly used for the Google verification. Okay, so this was all about the TXT records, and you won't see a lot of TXT records while we are doing our work, but you will definitely see the A records, MX records, and CNAME probably. So let's close this one. I hope you got the idea about the TXT records. Now we should move to the next one, and the next one is SRV records. So let's open it. So SRV is for the service records, and it basically points one domain to another domain, and it is basically used for voice over IP and for some specific services. So if you want, if the website has integrated a specific services like VoIP or IM, and the person should be redirected to different location or different domain, then these SRV records are maintained inside the DNS record. Okay, so this one is for the service record, that is for some specific services. Now the next one is the CNAME we have covered. So here we have, that is the 4 times A record, and it is similar to the A record as you can see here, but see the difference here, but it allows you to point the domain to an IPv6 address. Are you getting it? So if you have the A record, it will be for the IPv4, and if you have 4 times A record, it should be for the IPv6 address. So that's the only difference, and it's going to be similar to the A record. So if you're looking for some IPv6 address, you should go for the 4 times A record inside the DNS record. So we have finally completed our the record segment. I hope that you have got a basic idea about all these records. And now what I will do, I will just take an example of a website and I will show you how you can easily get all the information, whatever the records that we have talked about. You can easily get all the information regarding that. For that purpose, I am going to use a website, and it's one of the famous website, and the name of the website is robtex.com. So make note of it. It's robtex.com. So we'll hit enter here. So I would recommend that you should first log in into robtex.com. It will allow you to log in through your Google account. So just log in into it. Don't buy any of this stuff on the robtex.com if you are just trying it, because for more access you have to buy some credits. So I don't want you to do that. Here you just have to put the domain name or the IP address, and you have to press on go, and you will get all the information regarding that DNS information. Let us take a website for our experiment, or you can say for the test. So instead of going through college website this time, what I will do, I will just go into bugcrowd.com, and it's a bug bounty program. Here you will get a lot of websites for the bug bounty program. So which one we should start with? Okay, so here you can see Cybrary. Okay, so I hope you know about this particular website. It's very good website to learn the cyber security and all these things. So I will just go with this Cybrary, and I'm not doing anything on this website. I'm just trying to see which things are available for our work. Here you can see www.cybrary.it, and we can test on it. Okay, so instead of selecting a random website, and it is possible that I may fall into a wrong trap. So it would be better for me to go on the websites that are actually advertising themselves for bug bounty program. So I will just copy this here, that is www.cybrary.it. Copy it, and I will go back to my Robtex, and here, what I will do, I will just paste it. So www.cybrary.it, and what you have to do next, you have to press on go, and you have to just wait for a little bit. Oh, there are 36 IP addresses associated with Cybrary. Okay, so it's still loading. Just wait for a little more, and then we will see the analysis. So these are the field you will get here. The analysis, that is quick info, and then reverse. This one is similar to what we did in the netcraft, that is reverse IP addresses. Then some records here, and then SEO, WOT, Alexa ratings, threat miner, some shared values. You will also get a graph here. So that's a very beautiful graph, and you will see the history and the changes of the records, whose value you will get here, and it's related to the blocking list, and if the graph is available for all the DNS records. So these are the information we are going to get. So let's start. I think it's complete now. Okay, so here what are the IP numbers that are associated with the Cybrary? So these are the number of IP addresses, that is 36 IP addresses that are associated with this Cybrary.it. I generally don't see a lot of IP addresses associated with a domain name, but here you can see it is possible. Okay, here we have, so if we just move to the quick info, so it's Cybrary.it, domain name, then registry, top level domain, and the IP addresses that we have seen, and the domain name servers associated with these IP numbers. Okay, now here we have reverse, that is for each one of these 36 IP addresses we have the reverse IP addresses. I hope you remember our session that we have done in netcraft, and there I have talked about the reverse IP addresses and why there is a need of the reverse IP addresses. So I will just try to remind you again. What happens that on any of the web server, there are a number of websites are hosted, and suppose if I'm trying to hack into this Cybrary.it, but it's like very tough to get into that particular website. We are not able to find any vulnerabilities. So what if we will do, we will try to find other websites that are hosted on the same server, and there is a high probability that on that other websites there is some vulnerability, and we can get into that particular website, so that we can get into that server, and if we have a control over that server, we can just come back and we can have control over this cybrary.it. So that's why the reverse IP works. So it will tell you that for this particular IP address, uh, that is for the particular server, what are the other websites available. Okay, so here you can see that example, mywedding.com and all these things are also hosted on this server. So the list is very long, you can just scroll. And now here we have another subsection called the records, and here you can see the value of the who is value, and then routing, and then BGP value, and some description that is for the CloudFront, and the location. So for every IP addresses we have the record value, and for some of them you can see that if you just want to go more deeper inside this particular record, you can just click here, but this is going to be for the premium one. But I can see here some of them are for the free one. I will just click on it. Okay, so here is the list, that is the this for this particular IP address. I have got the record list here, and it's not showing you completely, but here you can see. So this one is, here you can see A is for the A records. So you remember what was the purpose of the A record there? It was to associate IP address along with the domain name. Okay, so here it is the A records, and okay, so it's not showing you completely. Can I download it? Download a full CSV results. Okay, so if I just click on download, okay, the results have been downloaded. I will just open it. Let's see it's whether we can find any other records here or not, just to show you. I have got exactly 27 rows, and all are the A records. That is for a particular host name, or for the domain name we have a specific IP address. So later we will see other DNS records also, don't worry. It's just because we don't have the premium version, otherwise we have got all the results anyway. So here we have some users, and okay, so it's just explaining me what's this PTR, CNAME and all these things. So just close it, and what we'll do, we will just scroll down. Here we have SEO, that is search engine optimization ranking, for this particular cybrary.it. So according to Alexa, what is the rank? Cisco Umbrella, Majestic, what are the common keywords that it uses, and the phrases according to their ranking. So here you can see A plus certification. As I told you, that's a very good website for the hackers, and if you want to learn more about the cyber security. Now it's WOT. You can see how much website is trustworthy, is it safe for the child one or not. So if you just go and put www.xvideos.com in the field of the toptext.com, you can see that it will show here that it's dangerous for the child. Okay, so so this one. Now the Alexa ranking, the threat miner, so you can just skip it. Now here we have something called shared one, and this one will tell you through which website is actually sharing the domain and all these information. Here we have something in free, so whenever we get something free we should open it. Okay, so again the same one. Okay, so that's the same one, the same records that we get earlier. Okay, okay, so we have seen the IP number, shared IP numbers, and here we have graph that I was talking about. You can just move it. It should be floating one, but I don't know why it's not floating right now. Hi, here you can see all the IP addresses that are associated with this library.it. Okay, so now it's floating now. Okay, so www.cybrary.it and all the IP addresses that are associated with it, and the IP addresses that are shared, and how it's going to associate with other domains. Every information you can get here. It's similar to the Maltego. I don't know if you have any idea about the Maltego. I will just definitely make a video on Maltego. I should make a video on Maltego. You will get a clear picture on web pen testing. So there also you can just take any domain and you can get all the information like this in the graphical view. So that's the same thing here. Now here we can see history and what are the changes they have made in past few days or past few years. You will get here. So if you click on any of them you will get the further information. Now is the who's domain lookup kind of thing. So you have already know about this one. It was our first video in this session, in this particular series. Now this one is for the block list. Okay, so these are some of the things that are blocked, and here we have something called graph. Okay, so you can see www.cybrary.it has four name servers, because you can see it's tagged as a. So it means that this particular domain name is associated with this IP address, this one, and this one. If you remember that I have already told you that there could be number of A records for a particular domain name. So these are our name servers, and if we just extend this graph, we will get all the further records there. Okay, so I don't think it's available for this particular one. We will just try to go with another website and we will see that if some other records are available or not. So let's go into Buzzcrowd again. Sorry, Buzzcrowd again, and let's see if another websites are available or not, where we can get some more information, so that I can show you that other records are also available. And so it's okay. Indeed.com is here, so I will just copy it. I will go into Roptex. I will paste it here and then go. So again we have the IP numbers and then the NS records, then some reverse IP addresses. Let it open. So again some A records. So we're not gonna see the A records again, because because we have already got the idea about that. Let's look for some other record details if it's available here. So again the graph one for this Indeed.com, and here we can see. Okay, so this information, as I was telling you, now you can see it here. For the Indeed.com, here we have some Amex record. And if you remember, what was the Amex record? It was for mail exchanger. So you can see on this particular website, we have three mail servers. That is this one, and this one. And here you can see this one is tagged as NS. So it's NS record. This one is also NS. So how many NS are there? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so there are exactly four name servers for this particular website, and here we have A records. So this one will be definitely the IP address that is associated with the domain name. And now you are getting a clear picture. I think that you are getting a clear picture what we were talking earlier in the theory, and now you can see it in practical. Okay, so these are the three mail servers that are associated with this website, and it is available in the DNS record tagged as Amex. And these are name servers. These are A records. Okay. Now is the who is information. Okay, so we don't have graph here, and this is the block list. Okay, so if there is something on which we can get a complete graph, then that would be, I think, very great. So let me try for www.tesla.com. Okay, let me go for it. WOT thread miner history. So it's still loading. Just wait. Okay, so the new one we got here, that is CNAME. So we'll talk about it. Let's see. Okay, so here we don't have the graph here also, but you can see that the okay. So other information, other record values we can see here. Here you can see CNAME, and as I have already told you that what was the CNAME. So CNAME is for the redirection. If you want if you want someone who's typing www.tesla.com or tesla.com, they both will be redirected to the same website, and you can use the CNAME here. Now here you can see that for the CNAME here it is www.tesla.com.sk.net. So that one is for the subdomain of this tesla.com, and another CNAME, and here we have 4 times a record. So you can see, can you just identify it, what it is? It's an IPv6 address, and for the a records here we have IPv4 address that I have told you earlier. Remember what was the difference between the a records and 4 times a record? It's the same one. Okay, the only difference is this one points to the IPv6 address, and this is going to points on IPv4 address. Okay, now you can see here how many name servers are used here. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Okay, so 10 name servers are used, and you can see all the information here. And again, we don't have the graph for it. I remember that for some of the website I had a great graph there. So let me try. I think that it was some college. So we have only A records here, and what should I expect from a college institute now? Okay, so nothing more information. Okay, so here we have some graph to show you, and you can see it's a records. So this fgit.ac.in is associated with this one 82.18.166.206. Okay, so what I told about the A records, it is association of this domain name to its corresponding IP address. So BGP, you can see here, it's a border gateway protocol. It is mostly related to the security one. PTR is a kind of pointer pointing towards this particular IP address. So here we can't see any other records here. Definitely it should not have a mail records and all other records that we have talked about for this particular college institute. But I just wanted to give you a clear picture of all the records here, so that it would be easy for you to understand what I was talking when we were discussing in the theory section. Okay, so I think I have given you a lot of examples. What you can do, you can just go to this bugcrowd.com, and I don't won't recommend that you should try for any of the website, and that could be illegal also. What would I recommend? That you can select any one of them here on the bugcrowd, and on the permitted website you can just try it on roptex.com, and you can see what are the information that you can get. So I hope that you have got a clear picture about roptex.com and how it works, and what are the things that we actually get from this roptex.com. And I hope that you have got a basic idea about the DNS records. So let's close this session for now. I hope you have got every information you were looking for. If you have got any doubt, any confusion regarding any of the field subfield we talked in the theory section or in the practical section, you can always put your query in the comment section. I will definitely try to answer that. and make sure that you write down all the important parts from this particular video so that you don't have to refer this video every time you want that particular thing. Okay, so let's close this video now. We will definitely meet in the next part. Till then, stay curious, stay protected.